This is John Hernandez. I have with me today one of the greatest songwriters and performers of the metal, rock, and prog metal world. After 30 years of being in some of the most influential bands of our time, the Mountain King himself is here with me today. Mr. Jon Oliva, thank you so much for hanging out.
Well, thank you, John, for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
When did you very first start making music?
I was 6 years old, and I saw the Beatles on Ed Sullivan and made my parents buy me a drum set the next day because I wanted to be Ringo. And that's how it started. I started playing drums to Beatle records, and it just went from there. You know, that was the start, though.
Very cool. How many instruments do you play?
I played drums, bass, guitar, keyboards, piano. I can play a little bit of cello. I can play a very shaky violin. But yeah, those are my main things though. Like, guitars and keyboards and drums and bass and stuff. But I dabble with string instruments, but they're really tough to play, some of those, man.
Very cool. Are you self-taught or have you been taking lessons for all of it?
Never had a lesson. I got thrown out of my guitar class in school for playing upside down. And the teacher said, you're never going to be able to play like that. So I went home and I learned the introduction for Over the Hills and Far Away by Led Zeppelin and came back the next day and played it upside down and sang it at the same time. And he sent me to the principal's office.
That is awesome.
Fuck you, man.
So who was all your major influences growing up?
Well, I mean, really, for me, musically, it was the Beatles. The Beatles is how I learned music. It's how I learned, that they had very simplistic songs in their main song chord sections, but they would add all this stuff to it. And every song that they did, you could sing to. And that was like the start of it. I learned to sing to the Beatles, to John Lennon, basically. He was like my idol as far as a singer. I loved them all, McCartney as well, but John Lennon was really the main thing because he had a grit and a nasal sound to his voice that matched kind of my sound. And so I would just sing, Revolution for like 12 hours. My mother wanted to kill me. She would throw pots at the wall and stuff. He was my main teacher. And I learned how to sing. I learned how to play piano to like Strawberry Fields. I learned with color-coded tape, electrical tape. I had like yellow, blue, white, black, green electrical tape, and I would put the record on and find the note on the piano and mark it with a color-coded tape, and then go back and then find the next note and mark it with another piece of tape. And that's how I learned how to play keyboards.
That is awesome. Just amazing. Okay, let's get into this new album. The new album is entitled Raise the Curtain. Where did the name for that come from?
The whole concept that I had for this was I wanted it to be like, I knew it wasn't a JOP album or a Sabotage type thing. I knew there was a lot of versatility. So I was like, my concept was, I want to make it like you go into a theater, you sit down with your drink and whatever, and the curtains start to rise. And Raise the Curtain that's where that title came from. It's like, okay, the show is getting ready to start, and here's the introduction music, which is Raise the Curtain, and the curtains are coming up. And then after that, it kicks into the performance. I come out on stage, and the first thing I do is Soul Chaser. And then I weave you through like the Chris Oliva stuff and everything, and then end the performance, with that song "Can't Get Away." And then of course there's the bonus track, but that's a separate entity. But that was my idea, to make it kind of like a picture show, but with music. Bring them up, bring them down. A little heavy, a little jazzy, a little funky, a little metal. Then back to this, maybe a cool ballad here, and just so that the listeners entertained. It's not 10 songs all the same type of genre. It's all different, and I thought that was why I decided to do it as a solo album. I was like, this is cool, let me do this is going to work. And that's where that whole concept for Raise the Curtain came from.
Very cool, very cool. A lot of these questions I'm asking also come straight from the people from the chat rooms and everything. I threw it out a while back. I'm interviewing, Jon Oliva, and so just FYI, a lot of these questions are from people that
Awesome.
just want to know. Okay, I was reading that the album had the rest of Chris's music on it. Was it really hard to kind of just get all that out on this album?
It was sad. You know what? It was great fun, but the end result was it was very sad to me because I don't have anything of his left to work on anymore. And what's ironic is that this stuff that I had left was the first group of songs that Chris and I ever wrote together. So it's like full circle. It's like this is what we were doing before Sirens, before Dungeons, and before Sabotage or Avatar. This was what we started. Like the riff that opens up the song Father Time, for instance, Chris wrote that riff when he was 14.
Oh, wow.
And I took it, and all I had was 20 seconds of him playing that da 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 chicka da 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 chicka da. That was it, and I had to take it and make it a song. It was very challenging. It was very difficult, but it was very rewarding. But in the same breath, it was very sad for me when it was done because I can't work with him anymore.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's a closure, which is sad. But you know what? At least the Sabotage fans or the Chris Oliva fans, I got everything that Chris ever wrote is now available for you guys to listen to. And this is the earliest shit he ever did. So, you can see where we started from,
Wow, that is just, wow, very amazing. This album has a lot of very 70s kind of a prog feel to it. Was it difficult to kind of bring songs like that to life where you've never done it before?
Oh, absolutely. It was a fucking nightmare. I was like, wow, and I was working very closely with my friend Dan Fasciano, who co-wrote songs on the album with me and also played organ. And he was like, dude, you have the worst job in the fucking world. But it was hard, yeah, it was hard. But you know what? I knew if I used real horns like I did, I used real horn players. And I said, you know what? If I used the equipment of that time, I mean, most of the amps I used for the guitars were Vox 30-watt amps, early 1960s Mesa Boogies and stuff like that to give it that authenticity that it was real. It's not digital. And that's why, and plus Chris's riffs were written in the late 70s, mid-late 70s. So those songs I knew obviously were going to have that vibe to them. And I wanted to make sure that it didn't sound fake, that it was real and honest, which is always something I strive to do, is like, whether you like one of my songs or not, no one can ever tell me that I'm not giving 100% and what I'm singing or doing is from the heart and honest, because it all is, and I don't just slap something together and say, oh, fuck it, they'll like this. I won't do that. I won't cheapen it that way. It took me a year and a half to do this record, and it was because I agonized over these songs and I worked, incredibly hard, many long hours to make sure that I was giving the fans of Chris and Sabotage and of me as well something honest and real,
Very cool, very cool. Who was all the musicians that played on this album?
Well, it was basically me playing pretty much everything. I played drums on... Chris Kinder played drums on half the album because my legs are too... I can't do that double kick shit anymore. I'm like, fuck it, you play it. And also Chris is a dear friend. The only people that played on this were very dear friends of mine. Chris Kinder, Dan Fasciano, who plays great organ and co-wrote a lot of the songs on the album with me. Great friend. He's an incredible talent, an incredible writer. Never been in a band before. I was just like, fuck it, man, come write some songs with me. And he was like, okay. And it was cool. It was fun. And that's really the only people that really, basically, other than that, I played drums on, I think, 4 or 5 songs. I can't remember. But I played all the bass, all the rhythm guitars, all the lead guitars, all the strings, all the acoustic stuff, and Yeah, it reminded me of Handful of Rain, to be
Right.
honest with you. Because right after Chris died, I went in to do Handful of Rain with Paul O'Neill, and no one from the band showed up. It was just me and Paul, and I ended up playing everything on Handful of Rain until Skolnick came in and played a few solos, and Zach came in and sang the last week we were there. With this, Matt Laporte passed away, and then I started coming down to my friend Dan's house, and it just started happening. It was like a therapy, I guess, in a way, because we were both very close to Matt, and when Matt passed away, it fucked me up, dude. I'll be honest with you. I'm not an egotistical person, and I don't have a problem letting people know how I really feel, but I was shattered, dude. I can't. All my friends are dying. Everybody I love is dying, and it fucked me up. And I needed a few months to just get away and just like not worry about a band or anything. And I just ended up coming to my friend's house, hanging out, and he just happened to be an organ player that had some incredible music, and we just decided to work together. It was weird how it happened, but it was great for both of us because we were both incredibly close to Matt. Matt was like a son to me.
Wow, very cool. Yes, I remember.
It was sad, dude.
That's very, very sad for all the fans too. And music helps exorcise the demons. It really does.
It does. Music is a healing potion, and working on music. If for you people listening that just love music but don't play music, playing music and writing music is even more of a healing process with that, because you're doing it out of love. I remember Dan and I saying, like, let's write a few songs for Matt, and they ended up being songs on this album. But when we first started, we were just thinking about Matt and saying, like, let's put something together, and it just happened. It was quite special.
Really cool. Where was this album recorded at?
Well, it was recorded here at my friend Dan's house. He has a home studio. We call it Adventureland. And at Morris Sound in Tampa, where I've recorded many, many things with Sabotage over the years, and Trans-Siberian Orchestra. Tom Morris co-produced the album, and Jim Morris was also involved in the engineering. It was really, what was cool about this album, John, was that all my really closest friends that I really cherish were all a part of it.
Very cool. Wow, very, very cool. The artwork on this album is just amazing. Who'd come up with it?
That was me. I couldn't draw worth a shit, but I came up with the idea about the stage and the light coming down from heaven. But what's really cool, do you have a picture of the album cover?
Yes, I have it right here.
If you pull the picture back and look at the microphone stand and the keys on the piano, it makes the sign of the cross.
Oh, wow.
And the light from heaven is coming down and shining on that cross. And Chris's guitar is there and my piano is there. And that was my whole concept. The cross thing was like something subliminal I wanted, but I thought now it's like important to let people know that that was done purposely.
Very cool, very cool. Well, it sounds like all these songs on this album are very near and dear to you. One of the people wanted to know, is there one that really sticks out as a personal favorite?
Wow. That's, ooh. Yeah, what I would have to say is, to me, it's song number 11, I think, Can't Get Away. Because for two reasons. One, it was one of the first songs that Chris and I ever wrote together, and two, it has the real horns on it, and three, it's because it has a lot. Just the song itself goes from a bluesy type of like Beatles come together type of thing into this thing at the end, and to me, it's the most. It has the most tracks on it. It was a very hard song to do live, getting Chris's riffs in there to work. It took me the longest, but it's the one I'm the most satisfied when I hear. I love all the songs, but that one was special because it was one of the first things that Chris and I ever wrote together.
Very well, very well. Have you done any videos for the album yet?
No, but Dan's wife did a fucking great video for Armageddon. So no, we haven't done anything. I'm thinking about doing something now that Dan's wife showed us this video that she put together for the song Armageddon, and I was like, wow, this is fucking cool. And I'm thinking about talking to our friends there in Germany about maybe giving us a little bit of jack to do like, 3 or 4 videos like this off the album. So that'll happen, and some shows are going to happen. I'm making an announcement in July on tour dates. I'm entertaining options right now. I have many, so I just need a few weeks to think about it because I'm burnt out, dude. I'm tired.
So there will be a tour then in support of the album.
Yes, there will be American dates for sure.
Nice.
Where are you at?
I am actually all the way over here in Taterville, Idaho.
Idaho?
Idaho.
Well, you're out. I'm only kidding. I'm going to do something. I have offers to do this like kind of storytellers thing all through up the Northeast, through the Midwest. I don't know if I'm going to get that far over to Idaho, but I'll probably do like an Omaha area and then go down through Texas and then come back. It's like 3 weeks. I test ran this show about 2 months ago when I had a listening party, and the response from the fans was like, I only did like 20 minutes, and they were like, man, you got to do this. This is fucking cool. I was like, all right. So I started putting it together, and some of the promoters are very interested. So we'll see. I'm going to think about it over the next couple weeks and make an announcement somewhere around the 15th of July on where I'm going to be and what I'm going to do.
Awesome. No matter where you play, I will be there. I will drive the distance. I've never been able to see you play live, but it's always been a dream, and I've already kind of done some talking, and yeah, if you can get within 8 or 10 hours, I'll be there.
You are a fucking insane person, but I love that. Thank you. You got passes, dude. Anywhere I'm at, you want to come, you get a hold of Dustin, and you're in.
Very cool. Very cool.
You and however many of your entourage you have, you're my guest.
Wow. I'm so humbled. Thank you so very, very much. One of the guys wanted to know, is the JOP camp still alive and kicking? Will we see any more albums and or touring coming from that?
Yes. The JOP thing is very alive. Like I said, I put it on the shelf for a year to do this album. I've already started working with my friend Dan on the new album. My goal is to make the heaviest album I've ever made in my career. That's what I'm shooting for the next JOP album. As far as band members go, as of right now, it's just me and Chris Kinder, because I have many friends and many great players that want to be a part of it, but I don't want to make a commitment to anyone until I know that they're contractually okay and I'm not going to screw up any of their projects. And once I get that, that's my next step, is to put the guys in the band together. Do this, because I'm going to Europe next May for festival season, doing the 25th anniversary of Gutter Ballet, where I'm doing the whole album.
Wow.
There may be some warm-up shows in America for that, probably Atlanta and Washington and New York maybe.
Very cool. One of the questions asked is, do you have, when you were doing this album, Raise the Curtain, did you have a particular instruments that you used for the album, like a particular guitar or bass you used on the album?
Yes, I used, to be honest with you, I had spent much money, well actually Paul O'Neill spent much money buying me exact replicas of the Beatles guitars. I have an exact replica of Paul McCartney's 1963 Hofner violin bass with all the original gear in it, original pickups. I have John Lennon Epiphone Casino that he played on Revolution and all on the White Album, and I have a Rosewood Telecaster that like George Harrison used on Let It Be and Abbey Road. And I'll tell you, and I used all Vox amplifiers when I did the stuff. And I'll tell you what, the Beatles were great, but I know why, because the shit sounded fucking awesome. I was like, You don't need no rack of, effects and this shit going here. It's like, if it don't sound good coming straight out of an amp, it's not good. That's
Wow.
my philosophy anyway.
Agreed.
You can't plug all this shit in and, oh, I'll make it sound great. It's like, dude, if it don't sound good just straight plugged into the amp, it's not good.
Agreed, 100%. Yep, don't throw another effect in there to get it. Agreed.
Exactly.
Okay, one of the questions was, when you're not in the music world, which I know is a huge part of your life, is there any other hobbies you like to do?
I'm a plumber. No, you know what? I haven't been ever in the position to not be in the music world since I was 17. So I don't know what that would be like, because I've been a part. I think I've had like one vacation since like 1990. It's like insane. But so no, I don't know, because I don't really, I'll go and play golf with my son once in a while, or hang out with my dogs. I love dogs. I'm a big dog lover, and that's really it. Really, I don't really have any time. I'm like, I'm not 25 anymore, so I'm like, the body clock's going like, come on, man, get to work, get the rest of this shit written, get it out there before you croak. I'm like, well, thanks, man. What do you pick out my coffin? I want black and silver, all right. But when you get to my age, you're in your 50s, it's like, fuck, man. I was always saying I was going to retire when I was 40. Well, that was a fucking joke, right? But I realized that, there's lots of things I want to do musically that I haven't done yet, and I want to do them now. So, I'm very excited about the near future, the next 2, 3, 4 years, because I'm going to bust my ass and do as much as I can, before I, retire gracefully to Boot Hill.
Very cool, very cool. Do you have any last words for all these amazing people turned in today?
All I can say is thank you guys so much for, being there for Sabotage and everybody else. I love you all, man. This album is as much for you guys as for me, and I hope you enjoy it. I love you all, man.
Thank you so much, John. You are definitely one of the greats, and it has been such an honor to hang out and talk with you today.
Dude, John, thank you so much, bro.